Ever wondered what a bottle cap is worth? Like, really worth? Me too. That's why we broke down a whole host of items and crunched the numbers to see how caps compare to today's dollar. If you enjoy content like this or Bethesda games and RPGs, then make sure to subscribe. Also, if you could like the video, we'd really appreciate it.
What is a Fallout cap really worth? Fallout is a never-ending wasteland saga where the desert can be cruel, but personal finances can be crueler. In a world where bottle caps, rare loot, and super mutant kill counts represent one's net worth, Fallout can feel like the world is turned on its head, and in all reality, it is. How valuable is an ancient relic like a metallic bottle cap, and what is it really worth in today's modern society? To answer this age-old question of what is a bottle cap worth, let's compare it to a real-world currency, the US dollar. To preface this analysis, we will compare Fallout 4's cap to dollar with items that are both in-game and in the real world. Additionally, we will assume that a player's charisma is undeveloped entirely, as well as having no points in bartering either. Let's start with a few everyday common goods, such as purified water, a Stimpack aka medkit, a pistol, also known as a Glock, 20 rounds of 10mm ammo for said pistol, clothing like the iconic blue jumpsuit, good old-fashioned pork and beans, brahmin, which is essentially a mutated cattle with 2 heads, some squirrel on a stick, a haircut, a brewski, whiskey, and dare I say it, a lady of the night? In this quick and dirty analysis, we chose common vendors that players will find in central cities because centralized commerce would inherently have the most traffic on a daily basis, resulting in the most averaged out prices a wasteland wanderer would find. In Fallout, purified water is essential in restoring health. It can be applied to questions and NPC interactions, and can be traded with merchants or beggars to improve your karma, which can occasionally lead to additional storyline developments or additional rewards. Importantly, it's also a trade item for Fallout's primary currency, metal bottle caps. In Fallout 3, a single purified water's value is approximately 20 caps. However, in Fallout 4, where water scarcity differs, we actually find that water can be cheaper depending on the area due to basic microeconomics, ergo supply and demand. But initially in Diamond City, you can find it as high as 67 caps a bottle from a trader named Myrna. This makes our analysis a little muddy, but we'll go ahead and include these differences due to geographic discrepancies anyway. Coming back to present day America, we find that in 2024, our basic plastic infested Nestle water at a local come and go, yes, that's a real gas station name, is $1.50. Using basic division, we can take the real world US dollar amount and divide it by the in-game bottle cap price to give us a dollar per bottle cap price, or in layman's terms, it tells us how many dollars or cents a bottle cap is worth in exchange for this good. Thus, our water exchange rate is 2.2 cents per bottle cap for a commodity like water. Interesting. Stimpacks are a versatile healing source in our beloved saga. Though they cannot cure radiation poisoning, nor heal addictions, nor cure diseases, they do restore health. They heal injuries, and they can ease your radiation poisoning in New Vegas if you use perks in combination with them. Stimpacks are a more badass run-of-the-mill medkit we see in modern society today. In Fallout 4, a Stimpack is going to cost you a girthy 161 caps if you go to Dr. Sun in Diamond City located in Fenway Park. And this 161 cap cost rings true if you speak with Myrna, whom is a basic trader in Fallout 4. This is actually a 313% increase from Fallout 3's cost of 39 bottle caps. Talk about hyperinflation. However, a first aid pack in today's world will cost you an average of $30, and that's assuming you don't spend a premium price for name brand American Red Cross kits. Who knew there were name brand first aid? These 161 caps to $30 price point in health supplies suggests an 18.6 cent per cap conversion. Weaponry and mechanisms of mass destruction are what help facilitate the Fallout universe to begin with. With this in mind, it is only fitting that we add a weapon to this cap value analysis. In Fallout 4, the most basic and commonly found pistol is a 10mm pistol. This firearm is a staple in the early stages of the game and often accompanies players as their first reliable ranged weapon. The 10mm pistol is one of the first weapons the player encounters after leaving Vault 111. It can be found on various enemies and in many locations throughout the Commonwealth. Despite being a basic weapon, the 10mm pistol is highly customizable at weapon workbenches. Players can modify it with different receivers, barrels, grips, magazines, and sights to enhance its performance, including adjustments for damage, range, accuracy, and handling. The 10mm pistol serves as a reliable and efficient firearm for players starting out in the harsh world of Fallout 4. and its widespread availability ensures that it remains useful throughout various stages of gameplay. However, 10 years ago from the Fallout 4 analysis, a cockroach-gnawing citizen could purchase a standard pistol from their local radioactive trader for roughly 20 caps. But this was before the rest of the Hills Have Eyes cast wised up and decided to pack heat throughout the wastelands. Once demand spiked in the last 10 years, the Fallout 4 universe started seeing prices breach 168 caps for a piece. Despite the 740% increase in pistol cost in the last 10 years, I personally find this to remain an absolute steal at the end of the day, given the state of the world in 2287. I myself went to my local gunsmith, shout out Freedom Firearms in Las Vegas, to get a price on a pistol and found myself with a choice to make. Purchase a Glock for $600 or go back to Fallout 4 and purchase one for 168 caps instead. I chose the latter. This puts our dollar to bottle cap price at $3.57, which places our standard pistol as the highest conversion factor in our analysis thus far. With every weapon piece that a Lonely Wanderer has, that weapon piece is really only as good as the ammo that gets placed in the chamber. If you visit a man named Arturo in Diamond City, you will find that ammo in the Hellscape will run you $140, which is slang for 140 caps. This assumes you buy a 20-round mag, which is approximately 7 caps a round. In the real world, most hunters or firearm professionals will buy their ammo in bulk and are unlikely to purchase ammo at a mere 20 rounds. After all, we're Americans that like to shoot shit and blow things up, so with that said, we typically buy ammo in larger quantities. If we take the average amount purchases in today's dollars, we'd calculate roughly a $20 purchase price per 20 rounds of 10mm ammo. This places our dollar per bottle cap amount at 14.3 cents, which is in line with our Stimpack conversion amount. If you've ever visited the deep south of America, you'd quickly find that animals of all types are cooked, ranging from alligator, snake, and yes, even squirrel. So is it really a shock to find that squirrel on a stick made it to the list of items that we're going to comp? Squirrel on a stick is a consumable food item that the player can find throughout the game world. It's essentially a cooked piece of squirrel meat skewered on a stick, serving as a quick source of nourishment for the player character. Consuming a squirrel on a stick provides the player with a small amount of health recovery. In survival mode, it also reduces hunger, making it a practical choice for staving off starvation. Like many food items in Fallout 4, squirrel on a stick typically carries a small amount of radiation, which can accumulate and affect the player's health unless countered with items that reduce radiation. This item can be found in various locations, such as in containers, on enemies, or at a vendor stall. It can also occasionally be looted from creatures or environments where squirrels might be found. Players can also craft squirrel on a stick at cooking stations if they have the necessary raw squirrel meat and a cooking station available. Squirrel on a stick, along with many other quirky and sometimes grim food items, underscores the game's post-apocalyptic setting where traditional food sources are scarce, and inhabitants must make do with whatever they can scavenge or hunt, even if it means eating irradiated animals. The going rate for squirrel on a stick is 50 caps, but if you buy squirrel by the bit, it will run you 13 caps per bit sold by Polly in Diamond City. Squirrel by the bit is actually more than a single round of ammo, meaning if you never missed a shot with a 10mm bullet when hunting fresh squirrel, you'd profit 6 caps per squirrel. The going price for squirrel in the real world, per the exotic meat market, is roughly 100 bones. This places our dollar per bottle cap amount at $1.92 when purchasing hot, fresh squirrel on a stick. If you get tired of non-nuke potatoes or zesty squirrel, you can always rely on pork and beans. Eating pork and beans provides a player with a moderate amount of health restoration. It's a convenient food source for a quick health recovery when other resources might be scarce. As with many preserved food items in Fallout 4, consuming pork and beans results in a small amount of radiation being absorbed by the player. This reflects the contaminated environment of the game world, where even sealed food items are not entirely free from radioactive contamination. Pork and beans can be found in many places across the Commonwealth, including supermarkets, homes, abandoned buildings, and other locations. Pork and beans in Fallout 4 represents the type of durable, long-lasting food that has become a staple in the diets of the game's survivors, illustrating the reliance on canned and packaged goods in a world where fresh food is a rarity. At 34 caps a can, and for about $1.50 in real-world terms, we see the dollar per bottle cap nested around 4 cents today. This assumes a generic brand of the canned food today. But if we think about the fact that Fallout 4 takes place over 200 years after the initial dropping of the bombs, is it really a wonder that generic pork and beans would be some of the last food the world would want to eat? In a world where most food sounds rancid or downright awful to eat, brahmin is arguably the best sounding food in the Fallout 4 market. Brahmin are mutated cattle with 2 heads and udders. They are one of the most common livestock animals found throughout the post-apocalyptic world. The mutation likely arose as a result of the widespread radioactive fallout following the Great War, which took place in 2077. Brahmin serve several practical purposes in the game world, including providing meat, milk, and hides, which are essential for survival. Brahmin are also used as caravans and are often used to carry supplies and trade goods between settlements. Brahmin also help in farming as they can be used to plow fields, similar to their pre-war ancestors. More importantly, Brahmin are a symbol of how life adapts in the Fallout universe, showing resilience and utility even in drastically changing circumstances. In my opinion, they contribute to the series' distinctive blend of post-apocalyptic and retro-futuristic elements, often with a touch of dark humor regarding their dual-headed nature, and for only 100 caps, they might be the best bang-for-your-buck item in the Fallout universe. This item may paint the biggest contrast versus real-world heads of cattle that can cost north of $2,400 in today's value system, and that would be assuming you bought the cattle in bulk from Stewart Ranch, Texas. This would also skew our analysis by suggesting that a dollar cap would be priced closer to $24 per cap. For that reason, I will not be including this item in our overall analysis, as it would weight our total dollar per bottle cap disproportionately. Still, one can't help but wonder how good Brahmin probably tastes. Many characters in Fallout 4 can be found with a beer bottle in hand. Is this to add to the environment's humorous yet bleak tones? Is this because most of the characters are perishing from internal cancerous tumors caused by governments of the old? Or is this simply because it brings us gamers back to our prepubescent days of escape? I don't know. But what I do know is that a Henry Cook is a bartender that can be found selling a cold one for 17 caps in the initial sequence when entering his bar. But you'll have to watch him beat up a gentleman named Paul Pembroke before you can grab a post-apocalyptic White Claw from Henry himself. Henry also appears to be heavy on supply of whiskey, or simply sees whiskey as an inferior alternative to a brewski, since he will also sell whiskey for 17 caps. At this time of writing, Bud Light has an 18-pack at our local Sam's Club running us $1.29 per bottle on average. And it also has a 750 milliliter bottle of whiskey at $22. If you're uncultured like me and are not adept at the metric system, this simply means $22 of whiskey will get you roughly 25 ounces of the liquid courage. This places our dollar per bottle cap for beer at 7.6 cents and our whiskey at $1.29. Quite the spread, if you ask me. The infamous blue jumpsuit commonly refers to the Vault Tech jumpsuit, which is a standard attire for inhabitants of all Vault 111 and other vaults. The player starts the game wearing this jumpsuit. Additional Vault Tech jumpsuits can be found within Vault 111 and other vaults throughout the Commonwealth, or on residents of these vaults. The base value of a Vault Tech jumpsuit in the game's currency, caps, is generally low and can go as low as 0 caps, making this an item that one could call invaluable. The Vault Tech jumpsuit is iconic in Fallout 4, symbolizing the player's origins from Vault 111 and serving as a reminder of the pre-war world. Its practical benefits, while limited, can be improved throughout crafting, making it a versatile piece of apparel in the early stages of the game. All this is to be said that it's almost too iconic to compare to something in the real world today. And, as mentioned before, it doesn't really have a price. So for these two primary reasons, we'll have to compare Diamond City's shoddiest gray suit you've ever seen from our vendor Becky. At 47 caps for the combo, I believe there are better ways a player can blow through their cap collection, but this item does make do for a real-world comparison. Depending on where you shop today, you can buy a shoddy comparison for about $100 in total, meaning a bottle cap is roughly $2.13 on average for this good. If swooning a ghoul at your local tavern is your shtick, then haircuts are a necessity in Fallout. Getting a haircut serves several purposes, enhancing both the gameplay experience and character personalization. Naturally, one of the primary benefits of a haircut is the ability to customize your character's appearance. This allows for a more personalized and immersive experience as you can adjust your look throughout the game. Whether you're aiming for a roleplay specific appearance or just want to change your character's style, a haircut offers this flexibility. In certain scenarios, altering your character's appearance, including their hairstyle, can influence interactions with other characters. A neat and charismatic appearance might positively impact social interactions, although this effect is more about player perception than a direct gameplay mechanic in Fallout 4. One of the barbers you can visit to get a fresh fade is John in Diamond City, who runs a barbershop where you can choose from various hairstyles that will cost you 15 caps. I'd like to think that John is probably better than most barbers in today's society, and that he's a man of the people in this regard, offering a service at an undeniable value. If you go to your local sports cuts, however, you'll be charged roughly $35 for a hands-on haircut by either someone fresh out of hair school or a gal who is in her mid-40s that enjoys a flexible work schedule. Regardless of what type of gal gives you a haircut, this renders the value of this service at $2.33 per bottle cap. Fallout 4 focuses more on building relationships through companionship and dialogue, offering a variety of companions with whom the player can develop significant personal and potentially romantic relationships. These interactions are more about narrative depth and character development than the more transactional nature of services seen in earlier games like Fallout New Vegas. With this in mind, in order to do a bottle cap value analysis for this type of service, we will have to look at New Vegas specifically. At the Gomorrah Casino, one can find that the New Vegas Strip offers this type of adventurous service for roughly 100 caps, and the establishment in Freeside known as the Atomic Wrangler also provides these services for a comparable price. Let's say we are looking for a good time at 100 caps on any given night in the radioactive Sin City. Near the real Sin City, however, there is a town called Pahrump, which also renders legal services similar to that of which a player would find in New Vegas. These services go for an average of $300 minimum, and no, these types of services don't accept American Express. I only know this from research purposes, however. This puts our dollar cap value at roughly $3 for such an activity. After looking at basic necessities such as water, clothes, squirrel bits, fashion, and nighttime activities, we found that the Fallout 4 bottle cap's most expensive item in the list is the standard pistol, which places a cap at a value of $3.57 when purchasing this item, while the least expensive item is a bottle of water or a like competitor 200 years from now that assumes a cap is worth 2.2 cents. Though, from a statistical standpoint, one could argue that our sample size should be at least 40 varying types of items and services, this fun, quick, and dirty analysis looked at 13 items and found that the average cap demands a current US dollar price of $1.51. The currency that closest resembles this dollar value price per fiat is a British pound at $1.25 per British pound. Maybe the bottle cap is the currency of the future. One thing's for certain, however. It appears game developers did not take into consideration price disparity for the game's rendered services and goods.